Hello and welcome back to Twilio Signal 2026. My name is Paul Nashwood. I come to you live from San Francisco. I'm here with Inbal Shani, Chief Product Officer and Head of R&D at Twilio. How you doing?
I'm great, thank you for having me.
Great to have you on. What a great event. I mean, there's so much excitement. The keynotes were amazing, the demos were amazing. What a big difference from last year to this year. So let's start there. Let's start talking about what you're showing.
Yeah, well, let's start with everything. We made sure that everything this time around is general available so customers can get started immediately. They don't need to wait, it's not coming soon, it's here, it's ready, get started.
I mean, that's great. I mean, that is absolutely one of the big takeaways I think the audience here want to hear is like, how do I get going? Yeah. Well, let's take a step back. I mean, Twilio a year ago, product-centric company, lots of individual pieces, very capable, lots of things that were available, but your foundation that you had is now grown into this unified platform view. And that unified platform view allows you to do so much more, as we were talking right before this actually, about that rapid time to value, right?
Yes.
To build it and get it out the door fast. That I think is important to kind of talk about. Let's kind of go into that. Why did Twilio decide to go in this direction?
So ideally, when we started, we wanted to be a platform company. We started with a bunch of APIs, which is the foundation of any platform. I think somewhere along the way, we kind of lost a little bit of our identity. We tried to build SaaS or kind of go too much up the stack. And then when we started doing acquisitions, we didn't necessarily spend time in integrating all these products. So we've kind of gave all these capabilities to our customers with a lot of expectation that they will figure out how to stitch it together.
Right.
Which is not the case if you want to be a platform company, which we are, that's our DNA. So we started with abstracting complexity, and then when we reset our strategy 2 years ago, it was all about, this is our DNA, how are we going back to our DNA, and what are the things we need to do for our customers? It was all around, like, we need to build that cohesive platform.
Well, absolutely, and then also to add in this little thing called AI that the market's driving for. It's like the agentic AI era, you're in this era. Yeah. This is something that, organizations are challenged with skill and complexity and challenge, just that's preventing them from doing these projects. Now you've provided a platform that allows for acceleration of agentic AI.
Right.
That I think, so if you look at it from that perspective, what are the main takeaways that Twilio can provide for customers in that space?
Yeah, so I think when we started thinking about AI, it was the biggest question is like, what is AI? What are some of the use cases that we think our customers will leverage different AI capabilities, and what are these foundations we need to build for them? What we've seen is that there's a lot of experimentation, but not enough AI is hitting production. So that means that one, not necessarily customers know how to adopt AI at scale. Second, what does that mean? All the aspect of trust and orchestration, it's hard. Now, if you're trying to solve with AI what previously where SaaS failed, which is creating these vertical silos within the organization, then this is not really solving the customer problems, at least not what they told us for years. They want an end-to-end conversation with the customer. So when we were thinking about how the conversation is changing, and for the first time in history, right, you have more than just humans in a conversation, you have AI agents.
Yeah.
And they need to talk to each other, they need to exchange information. Sometimes it's as an AI assistant to a human agent, sometimes it's an AI that is speaking to a consumer. And in the near future, it will be a consumer AI that is maybe talking to a human and maybe talking to an agent. And these were kind of the foundation to build the Twilio Agent Connect, to continue evolving conversational relay, conversation intelligence, all with the idea the conversation needs to be end-to-end, it needs to be seamless, and it doesn't matter who participates.
Yeah, I agree. I think that the interactions between human and non-human agents is obviously the future. It's where we're going. But I think that where we're at right now, 2025 was the year of innovation and experimentation. 26 is the year of implementation, right? This is where organizations are basically, the rubber's hitting the road, right? It's like they're trying to get things going, they're building these projects out, but a lot of times they're stuck, right, with either analysis paralysis or it's just too much in a workday. What I like is, what I was seeing in the keynote was customers can enter regardless of where they are in their journey.
Yes.
And that's something I think you should talk about a little bit, because when you're talking to your customers and when you made this decision to be, like you were looking at being a platform company, but now you actually are a platform company, what were the most significant challenges came up with customer engagement?
I think they don't know which questions to ask, which is interesting, right? When a new technology is coming, we're all the builders, all of us, we're running, we want to experiment, we want to figure out what can we do to use that technology. And for the majority of 2024, 2025, there was a top-down mandate, like you shall do AI, you need an AI strategy. And I think what we see right now is an awakening moment. The technology is very strong, but you need to figure out what is the set of problems you're trying to solve. And where customers are struggling is like, how do I know where I need to use AI and where I don't need to use AI, and how to use AI and towards which problems. And then there is the fear of AI going to replace a human. It's not, but it can make a human a very productive human. So taking the customers through that journey, through that understanding that we'll meet you where you are. If right now you're a fully human-to-human conversation, like your agents will benefit from that, your sales will benefit from that, your marketing team will benefit. Scheduling an appointment with a customer, you will benefit from that, because the idea of memory, that you remember your customers and you can create this personalized engagement. And now, in the future, you want to add AI to the mix? Great. Here's an easy way for you to get started. Like, you don't need to boil the ocean, just get started and then figure out how you want to continue scaling.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I think that, clearly clearly articulating what you're trying to get to and where you're trying to get to is important, right? Yes. So when you're trying to build out these platforms, it's not necessarily even about the execution, it's about what is the goal. Yes. So speaking about journeys, you had an intense journey yourself with the company, right? In the last 2 years, how do you see this shift, this pivot, this change in the company? What does this mean to your customers? What does it mean to net new acquisition, people trying to join? What does this mean in the market?
Yeah, so when I joined Twilio, one of the things that I've seen really quickly when I was looking into the R&D organization, we try to do so many things, and we're not necessarily focused on rallying behind a clear strategy of who we want to be as a company, what are the products we want to put in front of our customers, and that created a chaos. So the first thing is really creating a clear strategy that the company is going to drive, and it was all around talking to a lot of customers, our customers, listening to what they're trying to achieve, how are we solving that, and then coming up with a strategy to serve their current needs, also the gaps that we have created in the past, but also kind of invent the future and kind of being able to predict that. So that was the thing we've done in R&D and generally in Twilio, is like create that laser focus on what are we. We're a platform company, we're an infrastructure company. Here are the things that make Twilio unique. If you think about the scale of Twilio, I call us the largest telco in the world, because we're the one that is aggregating so many carriers across so many countries, solving for so many channels, so many use cases. So that's a giant platform. Now you want to take that platform to the next level. So what are the things you need to do? And it's also making the platform more reliable, more stable, more secure. So kind of focusing on the foundation and then starting to build on top of that towards the next level.
Yeah, I like that. I had Kevin on from the PGA of America, and he was talking about the uniqueness, the uniqueness of the Twilio platform, what it did for him and his organization. So I'd like to ask you that. What are some of the key advantages you see for Twilio's platform that others can't replicate as easily?
Yeah, I think it goes back to a couple of foundations. The first one is all about the breadth of the channels, the communication, the scale of our platform, our ability to take traffic, like Cyber Monday, Black Friday. You see customers, companies rely on Twilio to deliver their messages in the most important part of the year. And then, but also on the day-to-day, you heard some of the stats coming from Khozema in terms of billions of messages, trillions of emails. So that's one aspect. The second thing, it is an infrastructure company. And as such, we also have a lot of data assets. So when you take communication, you combine it with data, and now you're building towards the age of AI, like these three things make it very unique. And I think the other part, which Co covers in his keynote as well, is the aspect of neutrality. Because each one of the hyperscalers or each one of the AI companies, if it's the startups or the native AI, they're trying to solve a problem. They're trying to solve it with their LLM in their space. We are, bring your AI, bring your stack, bring your data. We will make sure that it's all coming together and it's really solving the problem you're trying to solve. And I think when you're combining these unique assets, this unique platform with that mentality that we have, makes Twilio, position Twilio to be that infrastructure layer for AI in the future.
Well, I want to congratulate you on the last the earnings. I mean, that was really, really impressive, right? I sat through the analyst day yesterday. I saw the growth of the markets in the individual regions. It's really taken off. But one of the things I would ask, though, is this is a pivot change for the company. How do you plan to evaluate success with the new platform capabilities? What are you looking at?
So the first thing is adoption. We want to see customers starting to use our products. So that's deliberately why in January we launched a private beta and we invited customers to join it. You know, like every good product team, we had a number in mind. Here's a good number for us to represent the customers. We were so surprised by the amount of customers that wanted to join and kind of try Twilio and try all these new products. So we kind of exceeded our own expectation, and then starting working with these customers, seeing their adoption, seeing their different use cases. When you're building a platform, you have several use cases in mind, but then customers find other ways to use it. So starting seeing that coming to life, that was amazing. So adoption is likely our number one.
Yeah.
Like the team just shared with me that this morning they have expected X amount of signups on the new Twilio console, and that exceeded expectations. So I think we're in a good place that we see kind of the market meeting our expectation and exceeding that. That for me, it's like we solved the right problem for our customers.
So so you see this adoption that's coming in. Definitely I saw the numbers on the growth, so I thought that was impressive. As the customers start adopting these new capabilities in the platform, and how are they, what are the areas you plan to focus on to kind of scale and look at how these are impacting the business? What are you planning on doing?
So we're planning to look across, one, what is happening with our basic channel adoption? Because all this traffic from these customers that are coming through our infrastructure layer, our new infrastructure layer, will drive traffic to the channels. And some of the things is like, if you think about Twilio 4 years ago, Twilio was known as an SMS company.
Right.
But suddenly it's SMS and it's messaging at large, and then it's email, and then it's voice, and then it's agentic. So it's coming together with all these things, and you start seeing much more complex use case that our customers are building on top of Twilio. So that's one aspect, like what are the problems they're solving on Twilio now that maybe they could not solve 2 years ago or 4 years ago. We start seeing new customers that are coming with different ideas and different needs, and are using Twilio to solve different set of problems. So that will be an interesting journey for us. And as I said, some of these launches are kind of anticipating the future of a billion AI agent coming. They're not here yet. So kind of being able to follow these trends and seeing what customers are doing. And for me, the more we can help customers make their agents more productive, make their marketing team more successful, create a better relationship with their customers, that will be a huge win for them and for us.
I agree. I think that's absolutely. I also want to I know we glossed over it in the beginning. I want to touch on it and bring it back here. The importance of shifting metrics to time to value.
Yes.
That's also very important here. I think, you can, as a customer, you can build it, you can do it yourself, but if you build it, you own it. Right. And at 2 o'clock in the morning when something breaks, you own it.
Yes.
Right? And that time to value is not always there. So what advice would you give the audience to understand, obviously they can do things themselves, but the rapid time to value, the ease of use, the reducing friction, those are all things I got out of the keynote.
Yes.
When Co was talking, when the audience was talking, it was really apparent that the audience was interacting very much. So,
yes.
Yeah, so what are your thoughts there?
So I think the first thing is we call it time to magic, because that's the magic moment, right? The first time you create your first engagement with your customer, that's a magical moment for any business. But when you're looking into the time to value, there's a lot of stitching that needed to happen in the past. You wanted to use more than a single channel, you need to stitch that logic by yourself. You wanted to add data into the conversation and make it smarter, you need to do that yourself. So I think my best advice for customers is figure out what is that problem you're trying to solve.
Right.
What is that, the one that if you will implement it, it will be a needle mover for your customers. And start there and start breaking it into the pieces. What do I need to do? And then go to our console and try it out. That's the best thing to do.
I like this. I usually don't like to ask the question about future-proofing, right? Because it's really not a thing, right? But when you start thinking about the platform and anticipating the customer needs, just a few years ago, we could have done all these things that we're doing today with a professional developer, right? You could build it, it would take time, it would take money, but what you've done is now you've let the lines of business actually do the deployment using AI to make it frictionless to make this happen. And that's where you have that time to magic that you were talking about. That time to value gets rapidly pushed into play. And then now, but you don't have to, it's more of a self-service model. You don't have to have the put a help desk ticket in and wait for something to change. It can work dynamically.
Yeah, I want to caveat that because I will say it depends on the use case.
Sure.
If your use case is very straightforward, you can do it yourself. But the moment you're starting to stitch like different line of businesses together, you do need your IT organization, you do need your product and engineering organization. But if historically they needed to be experts in Twilio in order to do their job, now they don't. And it can be a self-serve, it can be a sales engage. But if you go to the console, the reason why we spend time in kind of launching the developer workbench, the AI assistant, is we wanted to remove as much of this friction and getting Twilio ready to the world that almost every developer today use some sort of a coding assistant. Every builder use some sort of an abstraction layer on top of like the ability to generate code. And we build it in a world that is ready for these users. If you are a technical user or non-technical user, you can solve the problem.
Yeah.
But this is still an infrastructure company, so your
absolutely.
developers are still in the mix.
So Inbal, we're here at Signal 2027, a year from now. What did you see? Where do you see this going?
Oh, first I want to see 1 billion agent.
Okay, all right.
Because I think for us that means that we did remove that fear, that complexity, that hesitation that customers have in adoption. I think the second thing is, and we hinted on that a little bit at the end of the keynote, is like how are we making these engagement more trusted? Because some of the challenges we see with customers kind of going all in on automation, all in on AI, is that what happens when that agent is not doing what it's supposed to do? How do I control what they're doing? How do I intervene exactly at the right moment when a customer is getting frustrated in a conversation with an AI agent? So Twilio 2027 will be all about adding additional capabilities into that. And I cannot tell more, but the sky's the limit.
Very good. Well, I look forward to it. And well, thank you for being on today. It's been really great having you.
Thank you for having me. It was fun.
And thank you for watching. Paul Nashua coming to you live from Twilio Signal 2026, live from theCUBE, your leading source of tech news.